Welcome to the Big Cap. No bullshit, just conversations about passions, philosophies, and perspective. Here with the homies again. Go ahead, introduce yourself. We got special guests too.
Oh yes, we do.
So we're going to circle.
Facts. You know, Twan, real nigga.
What's going on, guys? Your boy Bash.
Yo.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy YK, aka Josh Freeman. You feel me? I'm happy to be on this pod with my mans. You feel me? He been dodging me. I was supposed to be on one of these joints for the longest. He been dodging me.
We got
You can't be doing that, bro. You gotta let these people know.
Ask the other 2/3 right now.
Big cat.
Have we not said 4 p.m. Sundays we link?
Look,
I
just
can't
saying,
control. You
man.
got a job.
I'm just saying,
Everybody got
man.
jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
That's facts.
It's like, nah, you know where it has it out though.
So.
That's facts.
Yeah. But all right, so today's episode, and this will be a quick one because I just need to establish some things that I realized based on the most recent experience. So This is Blue Residue Part 3.
Part 3.
Part 3. Now, I did my first two discussing a situation that I had dealt with an ex of mine.
Denise?
And Denise. We called her Denise. And it's kind of it's interesting because after I posted that, I ended up getting a response from Denise. And it's kind of I did a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to do based on that, but I feel like I needed to go through this experience. And I'm not this isn't going to be a video where I add a bunch of like captions and screenshots like I did prior. And the reason I did so was because the purpose of that video was to discuss how I felt I had been manipulated, how I didn't see things clearly in certain ways, and just to break it down, get outside opinions, and express how I felt about it, and see how I could help people who went through similar situations. Now, having gone through that, I still realize that a lot of the things that I learned going through my whole like red pill journey or whatever you want to call it, helped me get through this most recent situation without making the same mistakes, and helped me get the closure that I needed within this particular situation. So I got back into communication with Denise, and for a small amount of time, we started dating again. And I realized where I lost sight of my purpose.
What you was trying to do at the beginning of the interaction?
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel, at first, I would made it seem as though, like, yeah, I just want to fuck, and I just want to whatever, and I'm done with the bullshit, and I meant it. But again, like I said in the Blue Residue, the originals videos, I said that sometimes I feel like she's damn near the perfect girl for me. And maybe I just wasn't seeing things clearly. I mean, I see things better now, and it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. And I still see that we have certain traits within one another that we probably would do well together. But I realize now that it's more than just that. Like you could have different traits, you could have different things that might make you compatible in other ways, but people are still people. And you can't control what a person has gone through in their life, and you can't control how that affects them. And you could do your best to be there for them, or they might do their best to be there for you, and you want to be a part of each other's lives, but there are certain things that only the individual can deal with, only the individual can overcome, regardless of the support they have in place, right? So, but to focus on me, because this isn't to talk about her, this isn't to bash her, none of that. I feel like I got the answers that I needed in order to better my own life.
Right.
But so what I really want to focus on, as far as the Blue Residue aspect, is that as soon as I got a little bit of what I consider to be validation, I slipped up. And go check our video on validation. It's one of the most recent ones we've done. But as soon as I felt some type of validation, I lost sight. Prior to dealing with her, this most recent interaction, I would wake up in the morning and I might edit a video. I might focus on clips. I may have had a schedule, like not a super set schedule, but I would have some type of schedule in place to where, okay, I'm a film on Sundays, I wake up Sunday morning. I'm gonna edit the video. Depending on how long the video has been, it might take me up until I go to work Monday. Then I gotta come home, edit some more, wake up the next day, edit some more. Maybe I'm done Tuesday. Maybe I'm done Wednesday. But then, and then I'm like, okay, Wednesday, more than likely I'm done. I'm gonna take clips from the video and then start posting it on social media. And then Thursday, I'm gonna do this other video and then continue the process, right? But then I notice where I'm like, okay, I filmed on Sunday, but now on Monday, instead of editing, I'm focusing on seeing her.
Right.
And then maybe I can't see her, but then I notice where my normal schedule, my normal system that I have in place isn't, well, it is being affected by that, by my desire to be around her. And that comes from me needing a certain thing. Maybe it's emotional, maybe it's as simple as validation, whatever, right? But I noticed where I switched up. Now, prior to that, there was always time that I had for anything I wanted to do. I wake up, I work on what I work on, I go to my actual job, and then I come home and I have time and I hang out with y'all niggas and I have my circle. Now, instead of using that time, not out of choice, I was changing to fit into that system that her life needed. And that right there, I feel like is the main issue. Like, I have free time, you have a certain amount of free time, but then for other reasons that we won't get into, you're unable to see me when I am free. Now, I should have stayed on my purpose. I should have focused on what I was doing prior. I should have focused on my goals. And instead, I slipped up. Now, that's not to say that in a relationship you don't compromise for people.
Right.
And you don't, like, just say, nah, like, you can see me when I want to or whatever.
Right, exactly.
But when you have a goal, and I feel like this is, we won't get too deep into it, but it kind of touches into the male-female nature aspect of things, where a man should focus on his purpose, always. It goes into the quote, like, you'll never, well, I forget the exact quote. It's like, you could lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money. So, like, thinking about that quote, when you start to slow down on your purpose, when you start to focus on other things outside of that, or even worse, specifically prioritize a woman over your purpose, well, in my opinion, nature says you'll eventually lose that woman by doing so. So I maintain a certain amount of principles within this most recent interaction. At all points, when I had my hard line based on what I wanted out of the situation, I always stated how I felt, and I peeped how it always made a certain amount of progress.
Right.
And that is what made me stay true during my interactions. But in spite of that, I didn't realize until it was over that, damn, I was slipping up. I'm waking up early like I would do regularly, but then now I'm rushing through everything else. I'm postponing other things. Whereas I would have more free time to do other things, I'm choosing to fill my time with her because I can, and because of her situation and her purpose and things outside of her purpose as well. I wasn't allowed, or let me not say allowed, I wasn't able to use the time I wanted to be around her to be around her. Right. So my whole structure got thrown off because of my desire for this woman. And like, I just wanted to make this video to talk about this. I do want y'all opinions, but just to finish, like, my whole realization within that is that it didn't end the way I wanted it to, but when it did end, I realized that I wasn't as emotional as I thought I might be. And I feel like that goes a lot into my growth that I've had. I was able to look at it from a different perspective because prior, I looked back at her with a certain amount of regret, thinking about the what ifs and all the things that didn't happen but I thought could and would, and I was never sure of the reasons why things couldn't be the way I wanted them to be. But now I see that people have ways of expressing themselves that are just different. I mean, sometimes you can't read a person outside, and sometimes outside influences do more than you're aware of and do more than what you're able to understand, really. So I can look at this situation now and say, she's not a bad person. And I was not betrayed. I wasn't hurt this most recent time. I would say my strongest feeling is disappointment. Thinking about what could have been, and disappointment in myself, thinking about how I acted while feeling certain good feelings, realizing that I wasn't going to get what I wanted, what I needed out of a partner, out of a relationship. I feel bad that I let myself get distracted. I feel bad that I ended up doing things that I regret now, not necessarily within a relationship, but within my own life. And I do feel like that is the blue residue aspect, because a lot of people want that connection, they want that love, but when it comes to men specifically, we don't necessarily know the best ways to go about it a lot of the time. Everybody is taught differently, and a lot of the times we're not taught at all, and we have to learn through trial and error. And when we're going through that aspect of it, all you could do is learn from your mistakes. And I want people to be able to learn from my mistakes. That's pretty much all I had to say on that. How y'all feel?
I mean, I feel like when you talk about, how in your everyday life, like with your schedule and everything, you were switching up, like certain things to see her and to do things for her. I feel like when if you're gonna have a new partner in your life, like get a girl, like you're gonna have a girlfriend. Like for me, I know if I were to get a girlfriend, like I don't have one now, but
you're a little closer.
That would mean adjusting like my everyday lifestyle to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the only thing. Is like, I feel you when you say like you're changing a lot of stuff up about your life, and I don't feel like you should be doing that for anybody, because at that point you're compromising, like you said, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, all that. So that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, like, I feel like if you're gonna accept anybody, you're gonna switch some stuff up about your life, your everyday lifestyle, because if you have a girl, you're gonna want to see her. Like, you're going to want to take her out, do things with her, just her, you know what I mean? You might want her to be around your friends, so that might switch up, like, the way you hang out with your boys, because your girl in the, just stuff like that. Like, so it's just, I'm just saying take that type of thing into account, like, when you're thinking about this, too. It's like, it's not always, like, a bad thing, like, if you switching up your norm, or, like, your norm prior to the girl being in your life, you know what I mean?
I want y'all to chime in, because I honestly feel like my response to what you just said will take this a lot deeper. I want y'all opinions before we continue.
I mean, so with everything that's been said, I think I'm glad you saw what you saw, though, with what did happen between you and her.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just want to say, I guess she just wasn't at the same level of commitment that you were.
I would say social and expressive maturity. Being able to express what you feel, express what you want, and be assertive within life. But that digs into a different point.
Well, no, I mean, because I say it because she obviously was just too busy and had certain priorities, I guess you could say.
Honestly, like I said, I wanted to focus on my aspect because I don't want to get too personal onto her, because the reasons it didn't work out stem from deeper issues that get really personal. So I don't necessarily want to speak on that aspect. I just want to say that now that it's over, the things that I realized about myself and how I changed and what I was doing that was to my own detriment.
I think as long as you feel that, everything went great and you're fine, and that's all that matters, right?
I feel you. I agree, I guess. Like, things didn't go great. It didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I feel like I have more clarity on it now, where I don't have to.
It's better to have all that weight on top of not knowing what could have happened, but at least you did see it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if we go back to like part 1 and part 2, and then you talk about like, this is what you was going through. This is what you texted her. This is what she said to you. This is how you felt. Well, had everything went the way you thought it was gonna be in terms of not talking anymore, everything would have been different. But since it did happen, and things did happen, now we know, and this is what happened. This is the effects.
Yeah.
You feel how you feel. She, however she should feel, and then that's it. Move on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you
That's
there.
my answer. Just move on.
What's your thoughts, Torn?
I feel like when you say like you regret certain actions, I feel like none of your actions were wrong. I feel like you regret the outcome because even I feel like when you got back with her, I feel like you got caught up in the potential of
Yeah.
what it could have been.
100%.
So I feel like you were so on the potential when it didn't work out. You regret the situation. You regret not going there. You regretted not going anywhere because you saw where it could go instead of just seeing it for what it was.
Right.
I feel like if you would have saw the situation for what it was,
Right.
it might have
I actually
ended.
really agree with that. Yeah.
It might have ended a lot quicker.
Like especially based off like other conversations like
Yeah.
we've had off camera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually really agree with that. Like you could. I'm not saying that you can't look at potential and see or he's not saying you can't look at potential and be excited and see that and see the potential for growth, and that's why you might choose somebody. But it's like you also got to face the reality in front of you and how you're being treated directly and like in the moment, because that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Potential could cloud
Regardless
your
of what it
judgment.
could be, that's what it is. It's like so.
Think about it.
It's
Everything
balancing
happened for
that.
a reason too, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to take that into perspective too, and just I want to say I'm glad that you did what you did,
Yeah.
because I think everybody would have wanted to know what would have happened, because your situation was different.
Yeah.
There was things that we saw, we read, we listened that was like, okay, so what does this mean? Or okay, is this what you want, or is this what I want? And we got to see what happened, and these were the results. So
It was like a lot of tiptoeing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
in, but you got out quick. So,
Yeah, and I do
A lot
feel
of
like
tiptoeing.
standing on principles is the key thing for me,
Yeah.
because I feel like that is what helped me get out of it. And to touch on what you just said, I feel you as far as like getting caught up in the potential of what could have been. I definitely think that's a large part of it, because as I took the steps forward, I started to see certain things that were issues, but I didn't take it as something that we couldn't get past. I didn't take it as something that would be the end of it. I was looking at it from a point of, okay, well, I
This
understand.
last little hurdle to greatness.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I see why you're dealing with this. Let me explain it to you, and maybe this will help us move forward. And every conversation I had that made me feel that way, we would have the conversation and move forward, or at least at that point, I believed that was the case. And until the very last moment where it was like, okay, we're moving forward, and then I realized what I couldn't control. I realized it was past a point of like, okay, you can just speak to this person as an individual. Like when you see that there are outside influences, and not just to say any outside influence, when you see like there's a long-term effect from specific influences within a person's life, and then you have to move forward and deal with that aspect of it. And you might feel as though your counsel is enough, where a person has to deal with their issues.
Right.
And if you realize that these particular issues are the problem, is the stick in the road, fork in the road, whatever, then you have to decide how to move. And I got confronted with a blatant hard no, like for me, like where I'm like, I cannot accept this. And
A line.
yeah, it was a line. It was a line. And honestly, maybe I could be delusional, but I felt it wasn't that I felt it would just be over. Like,
bro,
like
you,
I
you
couldn't.
felt you were being yourself. There was nothing
Yeah.
you could do. I mean,
But it's like I felt like if I really wanted to, we could talk past this and blah. It could be the same thing. But I really, in that moment, was like, look, I'm, well, not even necessarily saying to her, just like the mental aspect. I'm like, I'm done. If this is it, it's over. And I dealt with that. And I thought I would be emotional, but like I said, just disappointed. And
I feel like
It
you're
just
not
is what it is.
emotional because you're able to take responsibility for your part
Yeah.
and your actions. And it's like it's easier to let go. It's like you're not blaming her for anything.
And I also feel like you can
Yeah.
learn from that experience, right? And like I know y'all have had like like y'all known each other for a while. You feel me? So like there were effects from earlier things that have happened and things we're not gonna go into, obviously.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just like to not go through that next time. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's like I feel like you can learn from this experience to not go through that same amount of bullshit next time. Like you'll be
Yeah.
able to walk away from a situation if need be and
Yeah.
understand that like I'm cool. Like the same way you feeling now, like I'm not emotional. I'm not about to be mad trying to kill nobody.
Yeah.
Like I'm disappointed. Like
Yeah.
and that's an honest, and I respect that because that's an honest human emotion. It's like, well, I mean, I wanted it to work out, like, so I'm disappointed. Like, and I feel like that's the most logical thing. Like I feel like that's all you should be after
Can I ask you
a
something?
situation like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Do you feel like it started too soon or it ended too soon?
That's a good question.
You mean this most recent son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like yeah.
Especially this time.
I,
because
yeah,
this is
I
what
feel
we're
like
talking
I feel
about.
like it. Probably in the middle. What I'll say, because the reason I brought up the principal part before is because I understood why she wanted certain things,
Yeah.
but I explained why I cannot give you that. Like that is not something that I would be happy with. So let's put it like this. To be as straightforward with it, we both acknowledged what we felt, what we believed it to be. She had reasons that she said she wanted to wait.
Right.
So in that aspect, maybe it was too soon. Now, I had my reasons for not wanting to wait. And I explained it. She agreed for the most part. And that might be an issue when I even say for the most part. The fact that I had to even convince you instead of us being on the same page. But I believed us to be on the same page at a certain point. Now, when I addressed it ending too late or ending late, or too soon, excuse me, my bad. Like, we should have waited with her. So that's the too soon. With me, it was like we could have dealt with this earlier if I had made the better decisions. Like, it ended late because this shit could have ended a week in. Like, I dragged it out of hope, whereas I feel like that's another issue with the whole blue residue aspect. It's like, you gotta take it for what it is. And at the end of the day, you can do certain things to overcome certain problems, but you have to take things for what they are.
Right.
And I believed that I was doing that. And I believed that whenever we had certain issues and conversations that it was progress. And I stood on principle and that helped me. But that didn't necessarily help the situation because it is what it is. It was what it was. I wasn't able to properly see that because I thought that my influence would be enough, that my actions could control the scenario.
Right. And that's not the case.
That is what it is. Now,
That's not the case.
Well, I'm glad you definitely sorted this out.
yeah, I'm glad too.
At the end of the day, the saga is complete. I believe this is some final
100%.
residue.
Yeah,
After this, it's swept up and cleaned up, and we're good. We're off to a good start, and you can go back to doing you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
after everything, we know what to do and what not to do as we go on.
Right.
The more we learn, listen, there's more fish in the sea, guys.
And
Facts.
the only
Don't ever
reason
forget that.
it went
facts.
this
No, I
way
Forget that.
That's real facts.
was because of the history y'all had. I feel like
Yeah.
the only reason it was drug out like this was because of the history y'all had together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like
I would agree with that.
you'll know how to move with the next situation because it's gonna be totally
yeah.
new.
Sure.
Nah, I mean, yeah, that's
You know
what
what
I
I
was
always
saying
think
earlier.
after, and I'm sure many people can say the same, is after every relationship, you always go through good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember the bad at first, but once we start to get over shit, we start to remember the good.
Mm-hmm.
But not in the sense of where it's like, man, I just wish I was still with that person. No, in the good of where I can remember what I did right, what I didn't do, and what I could have done to take it to my next relationship to always be that better man.
Yeah, the fact that it helped you grow.
Exactly, it helps
Right.
you grow. At the end of the day, there's always a benefit to meeting someone, losing someone, being with that person. It doesn't matter. You always gain something no matter what happens.
That's a fact.
Even if there's
feel
some bad
that.
ahead of it. It's
real.
just how life is.
Everything's a lesson.
Yeah.
Real shit.
And you can use this and move on.
And grow from it.
Bro, that's exactly
Moving
right.
on up.
But see, now Josh, I want to address what you said before, where you were talking about like getting into a relationship, and especially when something is new, then you adjust aspects of your life and your schedule for that person if you want to be around that person.
Right.
I do agree. I agree with that, but I feel like the issue is that like the balance within that, because the reason I felt this video was necessary is because I lost sight of my purpose. And I feel like a man should never lose sight of their purpose.
Right, and I was saying like
Yeah.
when I was talking to you about that, like not to cut you off,
No,
but
you
when I
good.
was talking to you about that, like
Yeah.
I was trying to acknowledge that like you shouldn't stray from what you're trying to do.
Closer to the mic.
Like you shouldn't stray from what you're trying to do. You should definitely remain focused on like your dreams and the thing, like whatever your mission you feel your mission is in life. But so if she's deterring you from that,
Yeah.
like I feel like at a certain point you gotta like either acknowledge that with her and try to correct that or find a better balance or compromise. But I'm just saying, like I was just saying in general, when you like you get a girlfriend, like especially that's just a new addition to your life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's a new scenario completely, honestly. And it's like you're gonna include her and stuff, or you're gonna find time for her that
You know what it
didn't
was?
initially find time for her. You know what I mean? So it's gonna automatically seem like I'm using time that I could have used for something else for this.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that doesn't mean it's not affecting your mission, your goals, or whatever. I'm just saying that if you get in any relationship, like I feel like you're gonna see that to a certain degree. That's all. Like that was the only point I was making. Like I do agree with what you were saying though. Like if she's throwing you off track for real, like nah, like you shouldn't have to deal with that. Like no man should have to deal
I
with
feel like instead of bringing her into your life and adding her to your situation and your plan and your path, you went and you catered to hers.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's definitely the difference from the last
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
This was a past relationship.
Yeah. And
Exactly,
I
though.
feel like that was the issue. Honestly,
And as a man, you can't do that.
exactly. Yes.
No one should ever have to do that.
Well, it's always a choice to do that, but the reason I bring it up is because I agree with you, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it until it was over, and I looked
Yeah.
back, and I was like, damn, I wasn't doing this when I would usually do that. I didn't focus on this during the time that I normally set to focus on this. And I did. I catered. And that was where my problem came from, because in my mind, I didn't see it that way in the moment. Because in the moment, I'm just like, well, look, I'm free this time. I know I have to do this. So, I mean, and you were here for some of that where, like, I set time, we supposed to link, but then I'm editing a video where normally I wouldn't do that at nighttime. I would do that in the morning time. But then I decided to spend time with her. So now it's affecting other parts of my life. But I kind of wrote it off. I didn't think about it until after, where I'm like, damn, like I shouldn't have done that. And
I feel you.
that effect right there, like you do got to compromise, but then when you start to feel like you're the only one compromising, but you don't necessarily see it that way,
Right.
because you understand another person's situation. So you're like, I see you're doing, I feel like you're trying. I feel like you're doing the best you can. That being said, I'm denying the fact that it's not enough for me.
Exactly.
And I'm staying.
Exactly.
And I'm hoping. And I'm putting faith.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Is like
in
you,
it.
like that. That's the only thing I'll be trying to tell you, bro. Is like you, like to a certain, like there are certain compromises you go and make in a relationship, but
Yeah.
like you don't have to deal with somebody who's not willing to deal with you. You know what I mean? And not willing to
To go as far as you need them to.
Oh, if we're,
Right.
if we're talking about
Yeah.
that, I mean, listen,
yeah, like. And I mean, not in the sense that like they're a bad person or like they're not.
Yeah.
Like suitable to be like somebody partner, but it's just like it won't work out between us because
Yeah.
my situation and your situation, and like it just
Yeah.
Why I
some-
said
it just
different
be
levels,
like that.
bro.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Yeah.
you wanted something, she wanted something else. Clearly, you was not down for what things happen for, right?
Yeah.
It's either you're good or you're not, and
Yeah.
it wasn't the way it should have been. So, like I said, you learn from that, and then
Apply it to the next
Exactly.
situation.
And I'm with you.
Yeah.
Honestly,
at this point,
that's
it's
really it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down
right.
to.
Yeah,
And for the people watching this, you really just got to remember, focus on your purpose and always stand on your principles. Compromise if you feel like your partner is compromising just as much, but never lose sight of your purpose and never feel like you're giving too much of yourself away and not receiving enough back. And that's pretty much it for me. That's all I could really say about that.
me too.
Residue
The
part
situation
3.
is over.
The residue's gone. It's done. I think you definitely closed something
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
had none of this
Yeah.
happened, actually before we log out, had anything not happened, maybe there would have been something that would have happened even more toxic down the line because you guys always have these pauses.
Yeah.
But now, since you kind of got to the point where you guys ended up saying, "Let's do it," and now it ended up like that.
Red pill
we good.
saved you
Right,
from
We
it.
right.
good.
Yeah.
You straight with the pill.
Yeah.
You got what you needed. You learned what you need to learn, and you can be better next time.
yeah,
And it's only gonna get better from this.
right.
That's all I can say.
Like
Yeah, that's real.
I feel like we talk about it a lot. Like none of us are the type of guy that's going to get into a relationship not intending to stay in that relationship.
Yeah.
So like, if you know what I mean,
It wouldn't
if
be a
you-
relationship.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
So if it doesn't work out, you know what I mean, you can always learn from that and move forward. It doesn't have to that doesn't have to stop you or make it like, you know what I mean, like it doesn't have to make it like scary for you to move. Like you could always move forward from that.
Yeah.
Like people make mistakes, you know what I mean. Human beings don't connect all the time.
We're not
Like,
all perfect.
we're not all perfect.
Yeah.
Like so, it's yeah.
Time for the
it.
next
I feel like-
chapter.
yeah, I feel like
That's a
chapter has
fact.
been closed. Next chapter.
I
Nah,
agree.
that book was closed.
Yeah,
not
that-
just the
nah,
chapter.
yeah,
that book was
No, yeah, no,
closed.
facts.
That's a
Yeah.
book.
Okay.
The book
Next
is
book.
closed because based on my principles, there's like no going back. I
Right,
mean,
right.
honestly, like it's done. It's done. Like there was a point in time where I felt like, oh, if I see her, I don't know that it's over.
That's
I
not,
mean,
that's not a book you want to reread.
yeah, it's over. The book is down. It's back on the shelf. I could just look at it and be like, yeah, that was.
I feel like you're able to do that because you really tried to give it a chance.
Yeah, yeah,
Put it next to your code book.
You had to give it a chance.
and I gave it a chance, and now I seen the consequences. I seen the results. So it's done.
You were not the father.
But yeah, but that's it for this one.
Yes,
This is
thank
Blue
you,
Residue
guys.
Part 3. It's the big cap, no bullshit,
Never that.
Yes. Thank you guys.
and we'll be back at you with another one.
You know it. Peace.